All right, everyone, it is in time for an announcement. Yes, indeed, the Uniparty GOP is actively going to seek to undermine Donald Trump's presidential ambitions. I mean, we know this, but let's detail it a little bit more. Link in the description, archived, of course, an interesting write-up. It points specifically to the state of Michigan, where right now the state GOP is non-functioning. It experienced a schism between the Unipartyists and the sort of the Trump MAGA crowd, and they're broke. They have no money. Trump is well ahead in Michigan polling. Can he maintain that if he has no financial support or local ground game with state officials and stuff and doesn't have the consent of half of the party's power structure? Maybe, but it remains to be seen. Now, the GOP elsewhere has been overhauled some, defortified you could call it. For instance, in Georgia. For instance, in Pennsylvania. I think that the votes are there, and I think that this is going to be a reasonably close election, but I give Trump the advantage. I think he's going to be the comeback kid, but the Uniparty will strenuously resist this. Right now, they're trying to astroturf Nikki Haley. They're trying to make the statement to the people going forward, there is an alternative to Trump, we must choose her. It's quite clear Nikki Haley is generally handled very gently by the legacy media. She's spoken of with praise by the Uniparty power structure on a regular basis. They avoid hardballing her in any way, and they give her deferential support. And it ain't just because she's female. Yeah, of course, Republicans are always scared of criticizing someone who's not a straight white male because they know they'll get nailed from id-poll leftists, but that's not the whole reason why. A lot of it is they want her to be the nominee. When she loses in New Hampshire, as I suspect will be the case, watch what will happen. Within 48 hours, they'll collapse like a deck of cards, and then they'll withdraw. What you have, like, let's say you build a castle. Do you have one wall, or do you want multiple layers of defense so that you can pull your forces back to a smaller, more confined area, preferably with an elevation above the outer wall, in order to keep fighting? Well, it's called a keep. You withdraw further into the castle. You want multiple layers of defense. The first one, really, is Nikki Haley. That's their first line of defense. The second one is attempting to sabotage him at the money level. So you can look for Ronna McDaniel, etc., and others to waste money on non-competitive races, trying to starve MAGA candidates of money and on-the-ground support. You can expect them to deliberately try to schism state party functions like happened in Michigan, especially in the swing states. They're hoping for that. Literally trying to go scorched earth on their own party to subvert Donald Trump. The third layer, and the one that's already beginning to crumble if Fulton County and Fannie Willis are any indicator, is the lawfare against Trump. So trying to put him in prison to take him off the campaign trail directly. But with the RICO case falling apart, the Letitia James case being only a civil trial, and again, having to do with money, that ties in more to that than even lawfare. Alvin Bragg's radio silence and Jack Smith being shot down by the Supreme Court, I don't think that they're really counting on that level of the castle to defend them. I think they're going to go straight to the self-sabotage level. Now, will they be successful? Again, they are going to do several things. Number one, denying MAGA surrogates and candidates cash. Not fundraising for them, not endorsing them, etc., trying to freeze them out. Number two, trying to sap every penny that Trump has whenever possible. Trying to demoralize people around him, refusing to put out mailers, refusing to stump for his campaign, to stump for Trump, etc. To try to weaken the campaign at the money level. Also, the logistical level. That's where you go after the state parties and you try to crack them apart so they become less functioning. They are going to do this. It is an absolute guarantee. Do you think that Mitch McConnell wants Trump back in the White House? No, of course he'd rather have Biden in there. He'd rather work with a liberal because he is a liberal. Do you think Ronna McDaniel wants Trump in? No. I like it when some Trump fans, they get antsy because Trump will praise Ronna McDaniel or something like that. And they're like, well, why did he do that? Well, it's called you've got no other choice. Trump can't be directly hostile towards the Uniparty within his own party without risking the support of partisans that are on board with him simply because they've got an R after his name. He doesn't want too much infighting. They, meanwhile, are at leisure to sabotage him from the shadows and not do it very publicly, and only core MAGA will even notice that it's going on. The Unipartyists don't care. So it's a little bit of a lopsided fight. I would point out one advantage that Trump has, though, and I pointed out before. America loves a winner. America also really loves a winner when they then take a tumble, they fall from grace. But the most American thing that they could possibly love is when they get back up. Trump going full Grover Cleveland mode, and certainly with the economy, if it's the economy, stupid is the name of the game, Trump can't help but win the election. With Trump going full Grover Cleveland, and then coming in, and can you imagine the grin on his face when all the other, like the GOPers that did try to sabotage him are all standing there when he's taking the oath of office, and he's smirking. He's going to be, I mean, he doesn't have enough teeth in his mouth to grin that wide. He's going to be pleased as punch. That iconic image alone, and with everyone behind him frowning, of course, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all the others, will be one of the most iconic and defining images of the century, which is another reason why we must re-elect Donald Trump. We need to go all in. Everyone must go and vote. And don't wait, by the way, to do the activism thing. Go knock on doors, talk to your on-the-fence relatives, etc. Let's pivot to the general election at this point, because he's not going to get help from the GOP Uniparty. That much is clear. Just like in 2020, they tried to sabotage him. Hell, to an extent, they weren't necessarily riding the Trump train in 2016, and I think that's why Pence was chosen as an olive branch to them. Say, look, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, don't worry, this is all just bants. You know, fucking let me win. Give me some support. And they did. And then they had buyer's remorse because they realized, oh shit, Donald's not going to start a war for us to profiteer. Oh God, he's actually serious about this border wall thing. Quick, shut off funding, etc., etc. I think his second term would be better than the first term. But they are going to try to sabotage him. Most of the Uniparty Republicans, at least in private, they may not admit this publicly. Some of them are more honest. They're willing to admit it that they've got TDS. So a lot of these people would prefer Joe Biden to be reelected, giving you, by the way, President Kamala Harris probably at some point in the subsequent 4 years. A vote for Biden is a vote for Kamala, after all. A vote against Trump will be a vote for Kamala at that point. I hate to use that particular example because there are other candidates, but that's fundamentally the truth. The only reason I think Trump still prevails, and in the wake of such a massive sabotage effort, which they've had years to plan for, by the way. They've been planning this since the 2020 election, or in some ways even before that. They figured that Trump would come back. Everyone knew that he was going to run again. The only thing that can carry him through that is the fact that he has so much populistic support and such a hardened fan base. People willing to go out and do the dirty work. We're going to have to do that also for other candidates that are MAGA. Not just for, not for the Uniparty Republicans. Let's return the favor and knock them on their ass and refuse to support any Republican that's not MAGA. How about that? We'll cleanse the party a little bit more so that it's more populistic. That'd be a good thing. We could use more Rand Pauls and Lauren Boeberts and less of the Mitch McConnells within the party. There are a handful of TDS-suffering Republicans that are still reasonably worth voting for, like Thomas Massey. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. Get Matt Gaetz back in there. I think Cawthorn should come back. Considering that he was completely validated in his claims, I think that Cawthorn should come back. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's considering running again. But he should. I think that would be good for the country too. So look for signs of sabotage because you're not going to have to look far, let's put it that way. That's about all. Peace out.